إن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Brothers and sisters, welcome to this more serious episode of Deen Matters. We're actually discussing today, brothers and sisters, marriage predators. And we have spoken about this before, and it's become actually more of a prominent thing within our community, where we're hearing many different accounts of sisters who have either through marriage websites or through word of mouth about a brother being told that this brother is a very good person and so on, and then it actually turns out that they are an absolute nightmare. So today, subhanAllah, we are going to be speaking to even a couple of sisters who have some very, subhanAllah, very depressing accounts of what has happened to them. But it has also created a new initiative, which we're going to talk about as well, inshallah. Actually, about a year or two ago, we discussed this, and I played a video by Brother Abdul Rahim Green, who, he gave some really good advice regarding the whole wali situation.
Obviously, Islam takes a great care to protect women. It has a very protective, some people may look at it as oppressive, but it's not that at all. The woman is, as the Prophet ﷺ said, she's a glass vessel. Be careful with her, be gentle with her. The woman is supposed to be treated gently and with a lot of care, and she should feel protected. She should feel secure. She shouldn't have to stand on her own and sort her own life out. Therefore, the role of the male, especially her father or her brother or her uncle or grandfather, is very, very important. In giving her that security and confidence, and. I don't want to generalize, but having said that, I'm going to have to generalize. But I mean, it is very easy for women to be misled. It's very easy for women to be misled because they tend to be emotional, they tend to be loyal, and if a man knows how to manipulate those natural womanly feelings, right, he can do pretty horrific things. How do pimps manage to get prostitutes? Well, it's actually a psychological technique that you can learn and study. How a man knows how to influence and use a woman's weaknesses and insecurities to make her literally do anything. So the point here is that that's why Islam, why the Prophet ﷺ has built in, this system into our religion, where the woman should not get married, without the consent of the guardian.
Okay, so hopefully that's going to set the the mood in terms of like how we're going to deal with this situation tonight, brothers and sisters. Telephone number is on the screen now. I want to find out if you yourselves or anyone that you know have been affected by this terrible situation, this whole thing called this marriage predators, also known actually in the States as marriage bandits. So it is a prominent problem. It's not just here in the UK, it's everywhere. I am expecting a call as well from a sister who, mashallah, because of what she's heard in the community, she set up a really amazing initiative. And today, what the show is all about is for everyone to talk about this subject, this whole topic. I want it in everyone's homes. I want you to speak about it because, brothers and sisters, it's not just from the Asian community, it's also from the Black revert community. This is everyone, all of our sisters are being affected by this. So the first call actually is now, inshallah. So I'll take this call. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So this is Sister Ibrahim, correct?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Jazakallah khair. Sister, Jazakallah khair for joining us now. First of all, just tell us about what you have set up as, a result of what's taking place.
Yeah, I mean, I think the video that we just watched captured what prompted us to actually put this group together. The point about how women are loyal and they can be weak emotionally, Some women have just been duped and have been sincere, and they've been manipulated into situations. And the reason why what we did is then we were hearing so many stories from these sisters that have ended up meeting potential spouses or ending up in marriages where they have been then abused and kind of violated, prompted us to set up kind of a way of highlighting these issues, and then also educating the women about what to do in that process. And like, he was saying about making sure what is involved and all these other things. But the main thing is to empower women and to be able to share their stories, so other women feel that they're not alone in this situation, and that there are other women that also have suffered at the hands of one of these predators.
Yeah. What have you? So you've set up a Facebook page, right?
Yes, that's right. I mean, at the moment it's called Predator Watch.
Predator Watch, yeah.
Yeah, and what it is that what we've done is the point of that is that we're sharing stories of sisters that have gone through a process to not really judge what the sisters have gone through, everybody to their own, but really to highlight and educate what sisters can go through, and then basically to educate women to say you need to be more vigilant, you need to kind of go away, do your research, be more careful, we're giving out numbers when you meet brothers, how you meet them, who should be there with you, your bully should be involved, and it just basically highlights all those things that should be in place.
Yeah.
I mean, the main things that came out for us from when we were doing the research was brothers, and I'm not saying that all brothers are the same. It is a very small minority that are doing that, but they're particularly targeting vulnerable women, especially revert sisters, and especially sisters that have come from a difficult background, or they've already been divorced, or they're coming out of abusive relationships, or have low-level mental health issues.
Yeah.
And it's really to kind of spread the word really amongst the sisters.
Yeah.
We might not be able to stop the brothers from doing what they're doing, but at least educate the sisters to be more vigilant and be more careful.
Now, sister, what it is we know that this is not something where every other brother is guilty of this.
No.
This is what the problem is. I mean, basically what's happening here is that it's really seriously affecting the trust that sisters have about brothers that are out there. Sisters are frightened, they're really worried, but not enough sisters are afraid of this, and that's why these cases are still coming up. They're still being reported now. How widespread is this?
I mean, again, like you said, we can't tarnish every brother with the same brush, and it'd be really unfair to do that, because there are very genuine brothers. But what sisters need to, there's telltale signs. When the brother is genuine, he's going to do everything the right way, and he's going to do everything in the correct method. Where it goes wrong is where sisters are manipulated, and soon enough they get drawn up into this manipulation, and soon enough they are caught in a web of deceit and lies unknowingly, and they end up in very, very dire situations. And since we put up the page, we've had stories coming through thick and fast.
Yeah.
And it is actually quite scary, because I think there's so many that have come out that I think it's gone unnoticed for a very long time and unchallenged for a very long time. And I think women haven't had the platform to finally speak up and be able to voice themselves, because they feel that masjids that are very male-dominated are not going to hear their story, and nobody, because she's a woman, she's not going to be heard. Yeah.
Listen, obviously you've taken some stringent precautions to make sure that, for example, no one's allowed to name anyone on this site, right?
No, absolutely not.
So it's more about highlighting the fact that, these cases are happening, and hopefully what you're aiming to do is to scare sisters into just thinking it's okay, I'll just meet this brother. But why don't you just, I'd really be interested to hear one of the accounts or stories that you have on your site. I mean, would you be able to do that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can. Do you want me to read it for you?
If it's I think it'd be good. Yeah, if you could set the tone with that.
Okay. I mean, one of the kind of first stories that came through that triggered some of this off and it was quite crucial and fundamental because it's quite a harrowing case.
Yeah.
And basically, it was the sister who married, who got involved first with the brother, Revert brother from Birmingham, and I'll briefly read it. I won't read it for word,
Okay.
but he was what she thought of him, of his character, a very practicing brother. He was in a polygamous marriage. She had sought out references that he had given to her, and persisted and persuaded to marry her for a long time, even though he was married to somebody she already knew.
Yeah.
She then basically she was in a very difficult situation at the time, going through. She was very, very vulnerable herself in that at that process when he was giving her all this love and attention and support, and basically continued and persisted enough to persuade her to meet him in a public place.
Yeah.
This public place didn't actually happen and ended up being his flat, where he did take advantage of her. Basically, she felt so ashamed and in such a predicament that she felt, well, there's nowhere else to go and I've got no one else that is going to hear my story. And more than likely, being the single woman, people are going to blame me. That's what she's written in this story, that I'm going to get blamed for this and I've got nowhere else to go. So basically, there was what the sense of the story is that she was very, very manipulated, and kind of everything was twisted.
Yeah.
And then basically he decided to have a telephone nikah with her. Again, what she contested with him and asked him, and he used a lot of Quran, a lot of hadith to justify that this was a correct method and it was a perfectly good method of doing a nikah. It further gets worse because then the sister, she felt suspicious of him because even though he said he had other wives,
Yeah.
but she felt suspicious, and then eventually, unfortunately, she contracted an STD from him.
Oh, subhanallah.
And she then wanted to, even though she wanted to walk away from the situation, she couldn't. And it got worse, and the communication got less, and what she felt like was he was only married to her for sexual gratification and nothing else. Emotional abuse, psychological abuse, mental abuse continued. She felt very, very trapped, that she couldn't really leave. And I think it's not really on the site, but as she found out more and more information about him, as things unfolded for her, she finally kind of gained the strength to then finally make a break and walk away. But it is quite a harrowing case, and it's quite a difficult situation. But it's a prime example of how somebody has been able to manipulate a woman to kind of succumb to the ways of which he wanted her to be in.
Did you get the impression from that account that this is something that he's done more than once?
Yeah. Unfortunately, with this case, we have had, as it's been investigated, there's been other stories connected to the same story, and that's why we were able to publish this story, because we had it verified, and other wives that were present in his life and ex-wives have confirmed that he has the same repeated pattern of behaviour. Showers them with love, a lot of manipulation. Once he has them, there is a lot of abuse, sexual abuse, and not sexual abuse, but exploitation and financial abuse. And then basically, eventually treats them. There's emotional abuse, treats them. It puts them in such a difficult manner that they eventually leave themselves.
So what about, are there any other accounts or any more sort of cases, of this STD which he's passed on? Sorry? Are there any other accounts of this STD being passed on, any other cases of that?
In this particular, we're still speaking to the sisters. The thing is with STDs, it cannot be tested. And that's another thing that people should be aware of, and that's something else that we will talk about on the page with about STIs and STDs. STIs can be tested and be treated, but STDs can't unless they show, or because the STDs very often are in the system but remain dormant, and unless they have a show or have a flare up of the STD, that is the only time it can be tested. Otherwise, otherwise there's no blood test or there's no swabs or anything that can test for an STD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's absolutely terrifying. It's so scary to think that, if this is the case of these predators are going around and if they're spreading these diseases, then anyone who is unsuspecting and like thinking, okay, yes, it's going to be okay, then, it's potentially a life-changing, dilemma for them. It's a nightmare, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something else that we will discuss on our page about sexual screening, and also we want to, what we want to try and do is tap into the masjids and madrasas and imams and speak to kind of the scholars and start addressing this issue in the masjids and addressing this issue and educate the sisters and then also educate the brothers. It's education for everybody, because I think it's gone unchallenged and unnoticed for far too long, where now we're hearing cases like this, and this is a very, very difficult situation to be in right now.
Listen, Ibrahim, may Allah keep you steadfast in this cause, and I pray that you will that everyone would know about what you're doing. And subhanallah, don't give up, because the ummah needs initiatives like this. So please, whatever you do, anything that we can also do to help you, like to promote what you're doing, is very, very important. So that's Predator Watch, right?
Yeah, that's right.
On Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook.
And will you have a website eventually?
Yeah, we are we're working on the website right now.
Okay.
And what it is that we're also now connecting with community groups and other support services like counselling, like screening services, and we're connecting with domestic abuse organisations. So then what we can do is then when sisters are coming through the system, we can then also give them the additional support of other areas.
Excellent.
As well. Yeah, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Please keep watching in case we hear anything which may require you to call back in again.
Okay, inshallah.
But may Allah reward you, and Jazakallah khair. I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. So that's Sister Ibrahim, who has started this fantastic initiative, Predator Watch, which is a page on Facebook where all you need to do is go on there, click like. The more likes that page gets, the more people that will be exposed to what's happening in the the ummah, and the more we speak about it, the more we'll get things done. The fact that someone coming along and saying to a sister, oh please sister, you don't need to worry about your wali, that would be like alarm bells, where she would just say like, just get lost, subhanallah. We're going to take another call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ya Sheikh Abu Zubair, how are you doing? How are you?
Oh, fine, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, fit as a fiddle. Yeah. First of all, I want to congratulate you. You started an issue which is a taboo in the Muslim ummah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, unfortunately, of course. After all, if we become ill, we go to a doctor.
Yeah.
If you sort of have a legal problem, you go to a solicitor.
Yeah.
And if you have some financial problem, you come to people like me as an accountant.
Yeah.
So why, since we have to spend, or hopefully spending the rest of our life with a spouse, why don't we seek the advice from our elders who have spent their life, 20, 30, 40 years of their life as a couple, so they know the ins and outs and, and all the hurdles that come in the way.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I have noticed in my life is, because I sometimes I get involved in these things, is, first of all, there is a surplus of women, and they are very, very vulnerable. As you quoted one of the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, they are very, very, very sort of vulnerable in this matter. And secondly, sometimes there is a little bit of fault in them. They are looking for a Mr. Perfect. There is nobody called Mr. Perfect at all in this dunya. And if you can find somebody 50, 60% agreeing to your requirement, please do it. And thirdly, as I said, because there is a surplus, the first wife must accept the second one and the third one, and the new coming wife must understand that unless we go through this process, which is the natural process, which is Islamic Islamic process, and which is the honorable process, we will hope I'm wrong. I can see, having lived there for nearly 50 years, the biggest single disaster that I see is the matrimonial problem. And our children growing up in a society which is nothing but riddled with sort of, all these false promises and all these glitters that we see. And it's not gold, it's just a glitter. And we are being drifted away from the real purpose of the life. What was the purpose of the life? To do the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be His servant. And matrimonial is one of those rightful things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam recommended. It should not be taken as a luxury, it should not taken be as something trivial on one hand and sometimes as a burden on the other hand. No, if two peoples are not compatible to some extent, they can't be 100% compatible. So the best way is for a man, because we men are macho in a way, I'm sorry. Most of the problems arise from the men. They see another woman much more attractive perhaps, and they leave the first one. That becomes a kind of second-hand woman. Shame on us. They are somebody's daughters, they are somebody's sisters, like we have the daughters and the sisters and the mothers. Why can't we see them from that angle and from that sort of perspective? Why do we not see them? And my advice to the sister is, please, as this sister was saying, and I could nearly cry for what she was saying, don't just jump into conclusions. Test the people. Make your family sort of involved in this one and the other family. Meet each other's family for about 4, 5, 1 month. Somebody who's bad, really bad, can hide something for a day, for a 2, for a month, for 2 months, but they cannot hide forever. Or the illnesses, whether the boy takes the drugs, whether he's a drunkard, whether he's got so many girlfriends or not, it will come out and will come out in the wash. Believe you me, we are not all that stupid that these things cannot come out. The only thing is we have got to be vigilantic and be careful and thoughtful. Brother, I congratulate you for bringing this taboo on the screen. And do it again and again.
Jazakallah. Listen, as I said, this topic is such a serious one. Please talk about this, wherever you go, so that it gets out there, so that our sisters, our daughters, will be protected against these situations. I appreciate your call, and as always, it's a pleasure to hear from you. Hope to speak to you again soon, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, look, this is just really, it's getting, I know we have another caller, so sister or brother, whoever you are, please make sure that you call back. Stay on the line, actually, after our break. We are going to speak to you. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. So you saw in the first half, we're discussing the crucial topic of marriage predators, or otherwise known as marriage bandits. And the first half, we were introduced to a fantastic new initiative on Facebook called Predator Watch. Please make sure you go on that, like the page, and keep informed about what's happening in the community. Now, we've got some very important calls to take. But before we do that, I want to play another quick video from Sheikh Abdul Rahim Green, who has given us some fantastic advice on this whole topic. So please have a look at this video now.
A good guardian, it's his responsibility to try and find someone who is a good match for his, the person he's responsible for, his daughter, presumably. Normally it's his daughter. So his job is to, filter those people who are proposing. So that they shouldn't be talking directly to that girl. They should be talking to the guardian. That's why, people ask me, well, I want to marry this girl. I say, well, go to her guardian and ask him. That's the proper way to do it.
Short and to the point. Let's take the next call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Walaikum salam, Brother Jamaal.
Sister, do you want to give your name or anonymous?
I want to remain anonymous, please.
Okay, no problem at all. Please let us know what your experience was, or what you've heard, or what's the account you have.
Yeah, I'm also a victim of this so-called predator. I met this man through a matrimonial site. I was a divorcee at the time with kids. I'd just come out of a divorce. I was in a vulnerable situation, and I came across this profile. He wrote about how his Deen came first before everything, which made him a potential candidate for marriage for me, because that was the thing that really struck out. After initial meeting, where I'd done most of the talking, I felt we were incompatible. I didn't think there was no click there because it was very quiet. And they went away with the intention of never contact him again. But throughout the month, he kept on persisting me via text messages, wanting to meet me and whether I should talk, whether I will talk to him about marriage, etc., etc. Eventually, 5 months down the line, I sort of gave in and agreed to another meeting. When we met, he told me how he wanted to marry me and he loved me and, he was always thinking about me, even to the extent where he wanted children with me. We talked about marriage and how it would be done. I didn't want a big marriage, so I told him, I just wanted it to be short and sweet, and the car would be sufficient for me. And then when we were talking about the marriage, he sort of persuaded me that due to the fact I was a Hanafi and I was also a divorcee, I didn't need a wali for the marriage. I can just, I didn't have to consult my parents. I can, as a divorcee, I had the right to find my own match, my own man, my own potential husband, and, I don't need anyone's consent in order to do that. So he, talked to me about a telefonica again, like the previous caller has said, a telefonica, and I questioned this method many times over. It just didn't sound right to me. And in every time I questioned him, he would make points as to how it was valid, and all I needed was his consent. I wouldn't even receive a call from a witness, which I questioned as well. I thought it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense what you're saying to me. Because I used to question him so many times, he used to justify it by using examples, various examples, even hadith quotations, Quranic quotations, to justify what he was trying to tell me. And, even though I was still confused, due to the fact that I kept on constantly questioning his methods, it resulted in his anger. So I stopped and I thought, well, he knows a bit more about the religion maybe because he's quoting Quranic and Hadith. So maybe, I should start just relaxing and believing what he's saying. I asked him about his various divorces. He told me he had divorced about 5 times. He had 3 kids. I asked him about his current wives. He said, 1 minute there'll be a Kenyan, then the next minute it'll be a Swede, and then a Moroccan, and then an English. And I was a bit confused. And that's when alarm bells started ringing in my head, thinking, his lies aren't really consistent. What he's telling me isn't consistent. It's all different people that he's telling me about.
Yeah.
He used to talk about his crazy fantasies, even to the extent where he was talking about girls, fantasies about girls of the age of between 14 to 16, mostly 14-year-olds. Some of them very graphic and sexual in nature, which kind of really scared me a little. But I used to let him talk just so I can understand him mentally, so I can understand what he's trying to say to me. So I allowed him to be open and gain my trust so he could open up to me. After marriage, I think that's when it all started going a bit, downhill. Texts he weren't responding to my calls. The responses were very slow. He sometimes ignored my calls, sometimes ignored my texts. Even though I fulfilled all my rights as a wife, cooked, clean, etc., etc., done what he told me to do. I'd always listen to him. Told me not to go out, I wouldn't go out. And then, as things progressed, I started getting suspicions because of his behaviour, the way he was conducting. I was observing him, and the more I observed, the more things weren't adding up.
Yeah.
His lies weren't making any sense. What he was saying, the way he was acting, the way he was behaving, it just wasn't making any sense sense at all to me. So I started doing my own research, conducting my own research, and I've done a bit of digging around. I managed to get hold of an ex-wife of his. As soon as I told her my story, it clicked who I was talking about, and she told me straight away what had I done. You know, I should leave. He's a filthy, disgusting man, and I need to leave right away. She told me he'd even financially support his own children. You know, so basically what she was saying to me confirmed my own suspicions anyway. And I think at that point, that is when I sort of decided to, you know, enough was enough. I need to leave because it's getting, you know, it's getting too dangerous for me. I mean, he was messing with my head. He was messing with my heart. He was manipulating me, telling me what to do, controlling me. And then I finished with him. You know, I just basically told him that I didn't want to be with him anymore. Yeah. And that's when he started threatening me with violence and even rape. Threatening me with rape in Texas. So, consulted police. I had to get the police involved. Okay. And, you know, had to get them involved, have a mark on my house, etc. You know, then after that, I started working with other women, a few sisters that I had, you know, managed to get hold of. And I discovered at that point that just a week before my nikah, he'd already married another nikah with another sister in the same method, the telephone nikah, a week before he married me. And the more I researched, the more that I discovered the horror of it all. Women that claim to be either a wife of his or a girlfriend of his, even to an extent say they were currently pregnant with his kids, and not even in wedlock, not even a nikah. It was outside marriage, outside the provinces of Islam. So, you know, it was just horrific.
It's incredible.
Manipulation, the things that he'd put in my head, the fact that I used to justify his actions, and I used to just believe him. I just feel really stupid now.
May Allah make it easy for you. I mean, I think, subhanAllah, this is an experience which, you know, I think that really needs to be out there. People need to know about this. That's why I'm really glad that you called in today. I wanted to ask you something, actually. I mean,
sure, not a problem.
Do you what can I say? The Predator Watch, I mean, you know, on Facebook, you know, are you already aware of that, or can you go on there and put your account on?
I have become aware of that, yeah.
Okay. So maybe you'll be willing to put your story up there as well?
I will be doing, yeah. I'll put my story up soon, inshallah.
Sister, what advice would you give to somebody else who might be thinking about going through this process?
Basically, I think the first advice would be follow your gut, follow instinct. You know, within the first meeting, I think you should just definitely, if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't add up, then it's not right. You know, that's basically it. But that is the main thing, because I did initially follow my instinct, but then again, due to his persistence, I gave in, and I think instinctively I always knew that things were right, but, you know, he just weaved such a story, you know, cast a spell that I, you know, eventually fell in love, and that was it. Another thing to do is obviously research, get references, not from actual person, but trying to research, you know, who you potentially want to marry. You know, ask around, try and get your wali involved, try and get other people's involved. Even the masjid will help you. You know, try and get someone that you trust involved. But don't trust anyone at face value. These matrimonial sites, anybody can be anybody. You know, they can say I'm you know, a lawyer. Anybody can be anybody. You just don't know who you're talking to. I think that's the one thing that you know you need to be aware of. That
I'm glad
people
you mentioned
out
that.
there, you know, behaviour out there. You know, it's just after experience and coming out of this, it just makes me more alert and aware of what I want.
Sister, listen. Whatever you do, I mean, you know, obviously, just keep yourself safe. And you know, get on that Facebook page, and also, you know, for example, there are those sisters who they feel like, oh, this is my last chance. Maybe the brother's a good-looking brother. Maybe he's a bit younger. maybe he's like, he's got a bit of, oomph about him, and they sort of think, if I don't go for this now, I might lose my chance. I mean, like, just succinctly, like, what would you advice would you give to those sisters coming across someone like this?
Well, like I said before, just follow instinct. So if things don't sit right, things don't sound right, then they're not right from the beginning.
But their hearts will speak differently,
no matter
sister.
what they say.
Yeah.
He'll tell you what you want to hear at the point when you're most low, at your lowest, or the most vulnerable.
Correct.
He'll actually tell you the things you want to hear. He'll try and work you out, try and suss you out, and then, talk to such an extent where you believe everything that he's telling you. He's the ultimate Prince Charming. He's the ultimate. He's going to be the man of dreams. He's going to be sweeping you off your feet.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. You need to just be aware of who you're talking to and what you say.
Jazakallah, Sister Mela. Help you through this situation, and may it reward you for the work that you're going to do from here on in to help other sisters in this situation. Jazakallah khair for your call. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay, so let's play another very quick message from Sheikh Abdul Rahim, which is going to help with this whole situation today, inshallah.
In the very worst case scenario anyway, marrying without a wali is not marriage. According to most of the madhahib, that's the case based upon the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. It's not valid. So therefore all that is taking place is fornication. And why would a Muslim want to do that?
Again, sisters, I know you're getting the message here, but how much is going to get driven home to you is the question that I need to ask you. I mean, this is a very serious situation here. I'm not sure. I think we have another caller. Do we have a caller again? Okay, we'll take this call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, caller. We'll take this call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum rahmatullah.
Jazakallah khair for calling in, sister. Are you giving your name today or going to remain anonymous?
No, brother Jamaal, it's Shaz from America.
Shaz. Okay, how are you doing, sis?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good, thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Amira Foundation, you see, I was hoping I'd hear from another charity or organisation who would pick up on what's going on today, and please give me some good news. Is Amira Foundation getting involved in this?
Yes, we are getting involved in this. As you know, the work that we do with victims of domestic abuse and sisters who are left homeless.
Yeah.
We've, unfortunately, this is it's just widespread, especially for women who don't actually have family and support, and especially revert Muslims. So this is something that we've been looking at for some time now.
Yeah.
We've also been spending some time with the representatives from Sharia Council, in particular from Regent's Park Masjid, in having a look at how we can actually have some more, further stringent governance around nikah, also putting in support, because we can say that sisters need to have a wali, but what about those sisters that don't have a wali?
Yeah.
Sisters that are new to the deen and don't really have a comprehensive understanding of it. So it's really, we need to get an awareness raising campaign out there to sisters so that they're actually aware. So, we definitely welcome Predator Watch because it will highlight, some of the cases that have been put on already are quite harrowing. So sisters will then think and also see, and mashallah, with people like yourself championing the cause as well and giving airtime to this subject, because we often find that people want to be putting it under the carpet, or sisters are just told to, just to move on and let it go. But people who do these kinds of things, especially the brothers who do these kinds of things, they continuously do them. Just last week we had a case where one brother who is a revert and has been a revert for about 6 or 7 years now. In all of that time, he's actually been married to 16 women. He's also conducting these, despicable acts of telephone nikahs, but married to so many women, these women who actually believe that they're married to him, and, abusing them in many ways, and especially financially taking money from them. Yes, definitely. It's about awareness raising, letting the sisters know of what their rights are, and also, those alarm bells, exactly when they should be going off.
Yeah.
And also, working very closely with our institutions like the Sharia Council, like the Masajid, who can actually, do further work with both the predators and also the victims.
Sister Shaz, you mentioned something really interesting, because you said something about the reverts. It's a really good point. I mean, revert sisters won't have walis, and you know, if they're fairly new in the deen, how are they going to know who to trust? So is there anything that Amira Foundation can do about that to, you know?
Yeah, basically what we do at Amira Foundation is we will always ask for references. We will facilitate those meetings for the sisters.
Yeah.
We know, and we will do those sort of checks. And the women that we work with, inshallah, we try to take as many of those precautions for them. But what you have to also understand, Brother Jamaal, and something that is, you know, quite disturbing, to say the least, it seems like, you know, some of these people, that they act like in the same sort of way as grooming gangs. You'll have imams that are implicit in this, who will conduct the same nikahs for that person. It's the same group of people that act as the witnesses. So if it's a sister who, for example, is a revert or has no Muslim family and certainly no wali to take care of her interests, the imam will be made as her wali, another brother will be made as her wali, and then, you know, that's facilitated. And then when the sister goes back and speaks to the imam, when she then realises that, hold on, you've already married this same brother to 4 or 5 other different women, you know what, this is the case. You, as the imam, have given the reference. You, as the imam, told me I've got nothing to worry about. And then this situation actually happens. And then it's the further abuse. So as soon as it's sort of, you know, because Allah is always going to expose these kind of things, when the things are exposed, the sisters are then victimized and further abused. So I think you're never going to, people are going to act in an evil manner, but we certainly should be taking all the precautions that we should. And I don't think sisters can work in isolation in this. We need the institutions to be there with us to safeguard.
Yeah. Shaz, subhanAllah, I mean, I hope that everyone will become more aware of your work in Amira Foundation, so that, you know, sisters can feel a little bit more at ease. And obviously, you know about Predator Watch. You know, maybe you can support that as well, get some more likes on that page. And we just need for everyone to actually just know about all of you guys and what you're doing, inshallah. And so, I don't know how long it's going to take, but everything you mentioned before about the imams that are implicit in this and stuff like this, you know, eventually as a nationwide campaign, we'll be able to do something about it. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to go because we do only have a couple of minutes left. But please stay in touch, Shaz, and we'll also talk about this again in the future. So Jazakallah, thank you very much for that. Brothers and sisters, just, you know, on this topic, I know that people have images in their mind. We spoke about revert sisters just now, and on many occasions people have spoken about accounts where it's been like a revert brother, you know, this. But there are accounts that I've also done in my research, including on the Predator Watch Facebook page. I had a look at that earlier on, and it's alarming. I mean, there are people, you know, brothers from many different parts of the different communities, Pakistani, you'd be surprised, black reverts, Tunisian, Algerian. I mean, there are more that you know. So please do not just have this in your mind that, oh, if he's a revert, then he's dodgy or he's dangerous. The whole point about this is that your wali is there to determine whether that person is good or not. So the sister before, Shaz, that called in anonymously, she mentioned about the fact that she said, oh, I'm Hanafi, so I did not need a wali. So yes, okay, this is true. The Hanafi believe that if a sister's been divorced, she doesn't have to have a wali. That's her right. But having heard this today, do you really think that you want to take that chance? You know, as a sister who's divorced and does not actually need a wali, so what? Why not just say to a brother, you can appoint someone that you know or trust within your community, or even your family members, because most of the time you don't need a wali, but it doesn't mean that your wali is not there. Your wali is actually still there. And so you can actually just say to him, there's a brother, I'm interested in him, can you please go and check him out? Okay? And for the revert sisters, please be aware that there are incentives, there are initiatives out there where, even I spoke to Sheikh Abdul Rahim Green before, he was thinking about setting up a wali service where there'd be a group of trusted brothers who would then represent a sister, who would do the legwork, the footwork, and that will go out there and find out about the brothers and you know, just to make the sister, keep her out of that. You understand? So it's no point in you thinking that I don't have anyone. If you don't have anyone, find someone. There is always someone there. You know, so don't put yourself at risk at all, sisters. What was I going to say here? Never entertain for a second a brother who is reluctant to speak to your wali. This is something which the last video that we played tonight is going to discuss. It's going to touch on that as well. This is so crucial. Sisters, how many of you are to blame for this situation? Many viewers are watching this now and probably thinking it was your own fault. Okay? Whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter. The fact remains that these individuals are out there who are preying on sisters who are either gullible, right, or who just not thinking straight, right? But these brothers know about it. So it's up to you to ensure that you keep yourself safe from that. And as for these marriage websites, I mean, you know what my views are about those. And there are only one or two that I can actually say these are good websites. We've had Pure Matrimony here before, and they've spoken about how every email is monitored, or not every single email, but the emails are monitored to make sure that there is nothing inappropriate. And also they encourage sisters, they say, stay online, stay within this service. Don't go out. Don't, for example, if a brother says, what's your email address? Or if he says, like, give me your phone number, they discourage this. They say, no, stay within us so we can help to protect you. So yes, you might have these other glamorous types of matrimonial service with, you know, sisters flicking their hair back and brothers like looking macho and saying, yes, I'm all yours, just very easily, right? But think about the consequences of that, you know, and don't put yourself in that situation, sisters, where, you know, your life is going to be ruined because of someone who doesn't care about you and someone who's willing to spread a disease. You know, please think about this. It's very, very profound, subhanAllah. I'm going to leave you with a last message from Sheikh Abdul Rahim Green. And listen to this, take note of this, and we will be discussing this again. So please be patient, and Jazakallah khair for your time today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I would really, really advise any sister not to take that path of meeting the brother first and then going to your wali afterwards. And the simple reason is it is a fitna, it's a trial, it's a test, it's a temptation. And I've seen it and witnessed it personally many, many times throughout the years, where a brother and a sister begin to communicate with each other. They begin that process of meeting, talking, and then what often can happen is affection starts to develop in the heart. And then once that happens, when things start to go not the way that you want, then unfortunately you can start, or you can end up making decisions that you will and could regret later on in your life. It's, you know, the way I always say, I would say to every brother out there, is that you should treat any prospective girl that you want to marry the same way you would like someone to treat your daughter. Think about that. Would you like some guy just to be chatting to your daughter and making arrangements behind your back without even consulting you? Or would you prefer it that he comes to you directly and makes the proposal to you? I mean, a lot of it, I think, is just to do with the fact that, you know, I'm sorry to say, people can be gutless. You know, I'm just too scared to go and confront the father. I mean, you know, well, is that the sort of man you want to marry, who's too scared to actually go and talk to your dad? So I think this is just an excuse from shaitan for people to flirt sometimes and to get to know each other, and sometimes they don't even end up getting married. They have this sort of, you know, relationship of sort of engagement and without even marriage even happening. And sometimes I know that this has even led to more than just spending time together. It's resulted in, you know, people getting, you know, physically intimate, and even on occasions the woman getting pregnant outside of marriage because they just didn't follow the right, you know, you could say customary procedure that Islam has given us. So really, you shouldn't do that at all. If you're interested in marrying a girl, go to the wali. If a man shows interest, say to him, talk to my guardian, don't talk to me. This type of interaction unnecessarily outside what is required for work or business is something that Islam does not encourage in any way, shape or form. So we should all of us, including myself, be very mindful of Allah and know that Allah has only sent us this guidance for our benefit in this life and the next.